Ladies and gentlemen, today we are on the day 12 and we are going to discuss about personal interview and in the conference. Okay, a little insight into that. The Josh Squad is a mission by XNDAs for mentoring students in the field of SSB. It's an all India platform and it is to provide defense education with the Board of Officers of the Armed Forces. The objectives are free resources for all, right to free education, assist in inculcating and enriching OLQs in an individual, and providing a respected recognition to medically injured cadets from the various commissioning academies. Program structure, 21 days capsule, and today we are at personal interview. Okay, before we get on to the slide, what is a personal interview? To test OLQs, what all the traits an individual carries, and more importantly, that it's a conversation happening. Okay, so when we are involved in a conversation, we have to keep a check on few things that we'll be covering in the later of the half of the discussion. Very good. So they are also going through your profile, that is your personal information questionnaire gives about your profile, your background, your achievements. They are checking on those details which you have mentioned there. And second, very important thing, which is your general awareness, your situational awareness. Are you aware of what is happening in the country today, that or in the world today? This is what they would like to check during these interviews. It's a one-to-one interaction, and every candidate gets this opportunity to have an interaction with the interviewing officer. This involves the candidate being asked a set of questions. Now, it can be from different domains of his or her life. Personal details, personal background, professional background, sports, your past, your future plans, and many situational interactions also happen. Questions are asked based on your personal information questionnaire, and there can be counter questions put forward to your answers. So one has to be prepared for this. Generally, one or two questions are asked, but to test your presence of mind, how good a listener you are. So, an example of this could be you will be given a rapid fire. You will be given a set of 4 to 5 questions and you will be asked to answer these questions. Now, whenever you get any rapid fire question, one thing which you should ensure is follow the sequence. This shows your listening skills. So be very attentive when 2, 3 questions come together or 5, 6 questions come together. The second important thing which happens in a personal interview is they might ask you to tell a certain aspect about yourself. For example, they might say that, please tell us about your positive and negative traits, where you might have to speak for a longer duration, say a minute or two about it. Now, whenever you are giving these details, be very mindful that you are keeping it in sync with whatever you have done in those 3 to 4 days. If your interview is happening on, say, the 4th day, if it can happen on the 3rd day also. It's not sacrosanct that the interview happens only on a certain day. And of course, the interviewing officer puts to test all those OLQs which you have reflected in your SSB so far. Now, some tips which can help you and points to remember that can help you prepare well. Interview is all about the way you present yourself. That is what matters the most. Your confidence, your body language, your eye contact, your facial expressions while giving particular answers, everything is noted in detail. Do not boast about anything to fetch good marks from the IELTS. You can easily be found lying. Practice the answers to those questions in advance, which you feel are based on your areas of development. And I would also add on your strengths. What are the strengths you would like to be highlighted to the interviewing officer, which probably you didn't get much a chance to express during your tests? Hiding things won't take you anywhere, but honesty and admitting to mend your ways can. So very often have you would have heard or very often this happens in the interview that you might not know an answer to a question. So what do you do in that situation? Simply put across, sir, I am not aware of subject. However, I will definitely get back to you. Now, whenever you use this term getting back to you, let me assure you the interviewing officer will see to it that you get back. So if you don't get back the next day, whenever you see the interviewing officer anywhere, do make it a point that you keep your answer ready. There have been situations where a, a candidate has been called back again, or probably during the conference, they will ask you, so did you find the answer to that question I asked? And if you are found lost there, you don't know the answer, this can affect your life. A good command on the language is definitely an important asset for undergoing the interview. Communicate your thoughts in the clearest possible manner. Don't beat around the bush. You know or you don't know. Keep your answers very binary. If you don't know an answer, just say sorry and that you will find your answer. Go about saying some cooking some stories. Have a good knowledge about the forces. So you should be reading about the structure, the functioning of the Indian Army, the Air Force, the Navy, and also you should know the differences between the functioning and structure of the forces versus the paramilitary forces. If you do this, it's an A+. If you go wrong somewhere, don't panic. Leave that question and give your best in the immediate. Go prepared with all those answers which you were not able to give during the GTO task because they might ask you on. Often they will also ask which test do you think went the best and which probably didn't go well. So be ready with your answers for these questions. Another question which is often seen being asked is about your academic progress. If they notice that the progress is not smooth, or maybe you had some setback during your academic life, they will definitely bring out that why you have scored less in a particular year. Be honest and bring out the answer in the most honest manner. Don't try to play around it by saying some random excuses. It will put your success in trouble. The most of asked questions. This brings us to this topic. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your daily routine. Tell me about your routine in weekend. Your strength, weaknesses, about your native place, language, culture. You should know what your college or your native place or whichever village you belong to or your school, name of your university, why it is so, what is the history behind it. Prepare it very nicely. How do you spend your free time? Why did you choose to join the armed forces? Another version of this question which comes is, why do you think the armed forces should select you? So be ready with that. Give out your maximum strength in the most logical manner. Tell about some recent trending news in India. So if the question is asked, do you read newspapers and you don't know what happened in the morning in the news, it is going to put you in trouble. So be very careful. What are the subjects you chose for graduation and why? What if you fail the interview? Do you have another plan? Now, the last question is a very, very tricky question. Generally, people say, no, I am very, sure if I don't get into this interview, I will make it in the next interview. No. You should confidently say that you will have that faith in you that you will clear in this very attempt. And still, see, they are trying to check your perseverance. So take your call there. Give your honest answer at that very moment. If you feel that you will clear, you should bring it out, but not in a way that it sounds very arrogant. You can also say, though I feel so, I'll clear the interview in this attempt itself. In case by any remote chance it doesn't happen, I have a plan B ready. And that plan B could be an attempt again, or it could be simultaneously preparing for some other career option. Be honest. Whatever it is, be honest. When you're telling about yourself, let's take these questions one. When you're telling about yourself, there is a particular sequence in which you have written in the PIQ. Please adhere to the same sequence when you are telling about yourself. My name is so and so. I was born on this date. My father's name is this. Mother's name is this. I belong to this place. My permanent address is this. My present address is this. Presently, I stay here. Whatever is the sequence of your PIQ, it is the same sequence which I will suggest that you should follow when you're introducing yourself. You, it is very logical if you see. You first tell about your name, then you tell about your origin, then you tell when you were born. So it's like hinting your age. You tell about the place you belong to. You tell about your educational background, where all you have studied, what all you have been your achievements, so on and so forth. About your routine. The routine also has a sequence in place. Remember, sequence, putting things, organizing things in a structure, in a sequence, is a very important key in the armed forces. And these qualities come out when you are answering these questions. So when you are asked this question about your daily routine and your weekend routine, please do make it a point to bring it in a sequence. The way you wake up at this particular time, around this time you snap and prepare yourself for the day. These are the activities I do through the day in particular sequence. Give the more important activities of the day. Not things like I brush by this time, I eat by this time. Keep those information to the minimum and focus on the bigger tasks that you take through the day. How do you take through your studies? Bring that part out. You maybe revise first, and then you prepare, you take on the topics for the day. Bring all those aspects out. That also will help you to communicate to the interviewing officer that how you have gone about preparing for the exam and the interview. Telling about strengths and weaknesses. Here you have to keep the same considerations in mind when we were discussing the self-description test. Do not bring out weaknesses that can put you at a backseat. See, it is not about hiding. We are not telling you or encouraging you to hide your qualities. It is about highlighting what is necessary. Rest, they are the experts. They will definitely assess you to the T in all your tests. Tell me about your native place, language, culture. Again, you can start from your specific village and go till the state. Bring in a sequence and organized structure wherever you go. How do you spend your free time? Now, this is an opportunity for you to highlight about your hobbies and your interests. This answer should sink in with the hobbies and interests you have mentioned in your PIQ. Why did you choose to join the armed forces? This answer, I would suggest be very honest. If it is something, if something inspired you, bring it out with utmost seriousness and conviction. It's ultimately that which matters in this answer. Whenever you bring out things like adventure, I want to come for adventure, and just uniform, all these answers are superficial. Just sit and think to yourself, why exactly do you want to join the forces? It could be taking the legacy ahead. It could be some inspiration during your school days. Understand, this organization is not a job. It is not just a profession you are choosing. You are choosing a way of life. So something should have motivated so deeply to inspire you to take a way of life. And that motivation, that inspiration how deep it is, how deep are you ready to join the process is what is being tested. Choice of subjects for graduation and why, please bring it out. What if you fail the interview and do you have do you have another plan? We have already discussed. Will you try for SSB next time if you do not qualify for this exam this time? Again, this is the previous question rephrased and put across to you. So you should be confident enough to say, sir, I will clear it in this attempt. And should that in the most remote way not happen, I will definitely attempt it again if you have attempts left. Okay? Be confident, be positive. That is the key in your. What is the meaning of your name and how significant is it for you? So, this is a very good opportunity to see that do you, and you can try this out, introspect yourself. Whenever we address somebody by some name, every name has a meaning. So, whenever we address, we are actually recognizing a certain qualities in that person. And subconsciously or unconsciously, we all develop the qualities that we take from our name. Do this introspection. Let me know. Do you see any similarity in yourself with respect to your name? Which regiment, arm, branch would you prefer to join and why? Now, answer to this why has to be professional in nature and not emotional in nature. Mostly, we tend to become emotional and passionate whenever we are answering this question of regiment, arm, or branch. Also, this means you should know the difference between an arm, a services, a combat support arm. So be very careful in bringing out these details. Also, you should know some historical background, the structure and functioning, the nature of work of the arm of your choice. Why have you only applied for Army and not for Air Force or Navy? They might ask you these questions. You can suitably answer it. If you are somebody who's non-technical and have chosen to join the Army because you don't hold that kind of technical acumen, you can go and say the same. Okay. Again, the answer to this has to be factual and less emotional in nature. Tell me about some other competitive exams that you have appeared so far. If you have, please go ahead and share the details. Tell us something about your best friend. Now, here is what they would want to know about your best friends, their strong points, their weak points. So, whenever you bring out strong points and weak points in your friends, remember, these are qualities somewhere you need to work or you need to look into in yourself. We see only what we don't have in others, and we feel that our friends will help us to develop those qualities. Okay? Don't bring out too many weaknesses about your friends. At the end of the day, they have been your support system throughout this journey. How do you share secrets with your family and friends? Take this question very wisely. If you do share in a particular way, you are comfortable sharing a certain degree of things, certain nature of things with only a particular family member and not with your friends, please feel free to bring that. If you are someone into journaling, just an idea, you can say that if you journal your thoughts, that also is a good way to answer this question. What kind of people do you not get along with? This is again a very, very carefully to be answered question because again you are bringing out a certain traits of yours. Also, don't go too over the board and say that I am good with everyone. No, we are not good with everyone, but then the attempt is to be adaptable with everyone. So here your social adaptability will be checked. Be very careful when you answer this. How important is your opinion at your now? Somewhere in your self description test, you would have written about what your parents think about you. Now, that is the aspect which they would want to see when you are answering this question. And the follow up question, tell us about your relationship of yours with your parents, is also to check the elements from your self description test. So, in totality, you will be able to understand that they are trying to see what you have written in your psychology test, what you have done in your group tasks. Are you able to communicate the same during the interview? Bring out those qualities during the personal interview. Okay. Do you get any pocket money? How you spend it? Tell me something about this exam center and the city. So do your little bit of, about your SSB center. What is your biggest fear in life? Again, it is to test your courage. So be very careful when you're answering this question. Tell me about a situation where you have used your strength and emerged victorious. Now, here, if you see the situations might be correlated to what you have written in your psychology test. It is to bring out that do you really have the strength, the qualities that you have expressed during your test. What are your other career plans other than defense? Take this question as you deemed fit. If you feel that you have kept a second option, do bring it up. And before we go further, a little bit insight into what happens in the conference. First things first, do understand that the moment you are called for the conference, somewhere the decision has already been done to a large extent, unless you are somebody whom they still want to consider or have a discussion about. But more or less, the decision has already been done. It is more like a confirmation which is happening. So, whatever questions are asked during the conference also hold a very vital role. In case you are given a certain situation or question similar to the interview, please don't panic. There's no need to panic that, oh, am I a borderline case? Oh, am I being reassessed on some aspect? You don't have to worry about it. You have done your best from your end. Be confident and be positive that you will get recommended. Go with that positivity whenever you enter the conference. In the conference hall, the president of the board and all the testing officers will be sitting. So ensure your attire is formal for the occasion. So does it go for the interview. Be comfortably and presentably dressed. That doesn't mean you definitely have to wear a tie or definitely you have to wear, for girls, it is necessary you have to wear pant shirt. No, nothing like it. You have to be comfortable and look presentable. There might be a possibility that sometimes the interview happens while your GTO tasks are going on. So at that moment, if you have time to go and change, please do so. If not, you can directly proceed perfectly. Okay. The most important thing which you all should wear for the interview. Be positive, be confident. If you have done your best, nothing can go wrong in your interviews and your conference. Okay. A little bit about body language I want to talk. So mostly people have the habit of interlocking their fingers and sitting when they are sitting. So I will request you to once check in the front of mirror or just record how do you sit and answer. When you sit and speak and versus when you stand and speak, they are two different things. You need to be careful about it. How you look, how you present yourself when you're standing is different from how you present yourself when you're sitting. Your posture should be straight. It doesn't mean that you have to be uncomfortably straight. Just be normal. Hands should be resting on your thighs, palms facing down. No unnecessary movements of the hands. Toes should be pointing straight because the movement toes point here and there in body language we often notice the toes. If your shoes are pointing in any other direction, it shows you're not interested in the person sitting in front of you. Whenever you're answering, maintain a strong eye contact. Pleasant yet strong eye contact. No need to go like this. If by chance in the process of thinking your eye contact breaks, you don't have to worry about it. It's okay. Do get back to establishing the eye contact. Nodding of heads, movement of heads left, right, center is to be kept in mind. Be very conscious that you are not nodding too much. Say a yes or a clear no. There's no yes and no in the army or in the forces. This is one part of the military way. Uh, Keep your hair groomed, your face for boys, your beard and your mustache, keep them groomed. For girls, try to tie your hair in a more presentable way. It keeps you also from getting distracted. Those wearing specs. Now, sometimes what happens that uh, because of your specs, it can create a certain impression in your interview, to your interviewing officer. You can choose to keep it on or keep it off so that he is able to see your face better. It's again a choice. But if it is part of you, I would suggest you can confidently wear. Avoid wearing too much of jewelry as it is. You are not supposed to carry very costly belongings to the interview center. So you can avoid wearing any kind of costly. Religious symbols. Be careful not to exhibit any kind of religious symbols in the form of, say, threads, sacred threads, or kadas. Try to avoid them as much as possible. A watch, if it is allowed in the center, you can wear it. If not allowed, it's perfectly fine. Yes, this is more or less what uh, interview will happen. There will be moments where the interviewing officer will push you to the corner. But that's the time you should not lose your patience and be very confident in answering. Remember, this is a tagline which has worked whenever I was preparing for the interview. Keep the emotion out of the situation. Whenever you are given situational questions, keep the emotion out of it. There will be times that your own beloved people will be put into a troublesome situation when the interviewing officer might throw you a perfectly. Don't put an emotion to it. Keep the emotion out. That helps you to think rationally and a more logical solution. They will also test your perseverance. So don't give up so easily. I'm sure these tips will help you to do it.